Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel Teacher Site 2020. With SPM in just a matter of days, I am sure that you candidates out there are busy with your final preparation for the big event. Thank you once again for visiting my channel. This episode is to me very special, not only with its special format, but also with I will be with somebody special, my good friend, as well as my Sifu, who has been giving me a lot of guidance, especially in marking writing paper. She is none other than Puan Shanty from SMK Jalan Kebun, Klang, Selangor. I had a virtual meet with her a few days ago, and I would like to share with you the discussion that I had with her. So without further ado, let us pay attention to Puan Shanty's explanation on how to score uh, English Paper 1 in SPM.
Okay, thank you, Encik Syed, for inviting me.
Yes,
Okay, it's just a sharing of some um, and giving some guidance for students. Okay, I've been teaching for 26 years. Okay, so I have seen many cases and how we guide students for exams and how they are able to perform well. So this will benefit students. I really hope so. Okay, now paper one. Now, knowing that English has four main skills: reading, speaking, uh,
listening.
listening, and writing. So only the writing part is where students will face problems because they have to string sentences, write words, and some are guided, some are not guided. Like if you see English paper 1 for SPM, which is 1 hour and 45 minutes, they only have to answer two questions. I always tell my students, tak senang untuk gagal kecuali anda pilih untuk gagal, I tell them. Because you must write. When you write, marks will be given. Section A is very easy because it is directed writing. And these are formatted essays and they are given 45 minutes. For the 45 minutes, they only have to write an essay which is based on the points and guidelines given, and 35 marks are obtained. Section B is continuous writing. Of course, this is a bit longer, is about 350 words. My students complain, 350 words, teacher, apa saya nak tulis? They're not sure what to write.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is where I tell them, apa nak tulis, we will have to work on that. Because 50 marks, a lump sum of marks come from there. And they only have 60 minutes, 1 hour to write. But they need to plan, they have to find out how to go about it. Okay, let's see directed writing first. For directed writing, you have format, contents, and language. As I told you, these are formatted essays. It's either article, report, it could be letters, informal or formal, and speech or talk. Another way of saying is talk. Okay, so these are the format that can come out. So article, there's a format. I'm sure Encik Syed have taught your students about these formats already. So 2 or 3 marks come from the format. Contents, all guided points are given for this directed writing. So it could be 12 content points or 13 content points. And language, you'll be given 20 marks. Okay. Now, what students need to do? What are they supposed to remember? Okay, when they're writing their this essay is, they have to remember that the question, you must read carefully. Don't make mistakes. We don't want to make mistakes. Okay, it's asking for one specific format, but you present your answer in another format. You stand to lose 2 or 3 marks there. And these 2-3 marks can be very important. And the points all given, mandatory. You must use those points. Okay, so you count C1 to C12. What are the points? You count and you identify in the question paper. It's your question paper. You can write in it, scribble in it, right there. Okay, and students always ask, teacher, how long must I write an essay for directed writing? So it is about, there's no clear cut. Sometimes some students can write very clearly, straight to the point. Within about 1 page, they can get all 12 points there, content points there. Format also correct. Language, very good. Language also can make them score, and they can get about 30 marks, 35 marks just because of one page of answer, and they have really been able to write. So there's no clear cut how many words, but more or less about 250 words. Okay, then next, look at these common mistakes that students usually do. What are the common mistakes that students usually do? For example, the first question here, you see, the discipline among students in your school is declining. Write a formal report addressed to your principal. So what is the format? When I give students this question in my class, they say, formal report address. Address, alamat kan teacher? Alamat surat rasmi lah teacher. Surat pengetua, formal report to the principal, kepada pengetua surat rasmi. So formal letter teacher. So we say, isn't it written there, formal report? Okay, report to the principal. It's not a letter. Okay, then only they realize. So how's the format for a formal report? 2, semicolon, colon, the principal of SMK Jalan Kebun. From Ahmad bin Saleh, the head prefect of SMK Jalan Kebun. Okay, to and from is already there. Title, the discipline among students, the decline in discipline among our students. That's the title. Okay, so these are the 3 things that you will get format marks for. If it's a letter, it's a different thing. Sender's address, draw a line, recipient's address, date, salutation, and then your sign off. So there are so many other things. Now, a report and a letter, formal letter, is totally different. So when you make a mistake like this, misunderstand the question, you will be losing marks. Okay. Now, another example I can give. Your English teacher is organizing a trip to somewhere. Write a talk to persuade your classmates to choose one of the 2 trips. Now, this particular question, when I gave my students, what they did, write a talk to persuade your classmates. Saya bercakap dengan classmate, rakan sebaya, rakan satu kelas. Dia dialog kan teacher? Dialog. Saya tanya, dia jawab, saya tanya, dia jawab.
Because of the word talk, Shanty.
Talk. And because the word classmates. And the word classmates.
Because
they
talk
feel
means
that it,
bercakap.
So what is the format? They say it's a dialogue. I said no. Since when any teachers taught you directed writing is a dialogue? Never taught you dialogues. So it's a speech to classmates. Because of the word talk, they think it's informal. Perbualan teacher, talk to perbualan kan? Conversation kan? No. It is a speech. But less formal. Why?
Any difference, Shanty, between talk and speech? Is there any difference?
Okay, now speech, normally we use it in a formal sense.
Formal,
the word speech,
okay.
Yeah, formal. When do you listen to a speech? At the assembly. Assembly, who is there? The principal, the senior assistants, the teachers, then the students. Yes, you say a very good morning to the principal, the senior assistants, teachers, and dear friends. That's how you address. But if it's a talk to your classmates, it is still it's a kind of a speech. Less formal.
A light one.
A lighter one. Where would you speak to your classmates? You won't be talking to your classmates in the assembly point. In your class. So who is there in your class? A very good morning to Inche Said and dear friends. Okay, that's all. Who is Inche Said? Your class teacher and dear friends. Enough.
Okay.
That's where they make the mistakes. So when they make such mistakes, they lose out on when the format is gone, sometimes some other points also will be lost, especially in this part of the question where the talk, they made it a dialogue. Some of the points didn't come out correctly, and many students, I could not give them the marks because the point is not clear. Because they're supposed to compare and contrast between 2 places they want to visit, either to a television factory or to go to a tea plantation, for example. Okay, yeah? Okay, next. What has come out so far? Okay, what has come out so far? You see 2010 to 2019. Letter to cousin, talk about sprained ankle. Now, sprained ankle, this is about giving a talk to the members of the Red Crescent Society. It's not a formal speech, yeah. And then letter to sister who's studying overseas. Letter to the town council. Letter to the town council is a formal letter.
Formal letter, yeah.
Yes. Article for school magazine. Okay, article. Farewell speech. Farewell speech. This is maybe a teacher who is retiring. Okay. This is the first year in 2015 we had questions which are using HOTS, high order thinking skills, where students had to give their own idea. They say this teacher is retiring, has taught in your school for many years. So many years, but you must tell how many years, 8 years or 10 years, you must come up with that. And other details, has worked in previous schools. So right now she is in your school, she has worked in previous schools, you must come up with names of at least 2 other schools she has worked in. You do not know what school can I give, you have cousins in other states, use the name of the school of your cousins. Or you don't know, Sekolah Menengah Mersing. Nobody can say you are wrong.
Yes.
Or Sekolah Menengah Batu Alo Gajah. Okay. Nobody can say you are wrong. So just at least 2 names of 2 schools, because previous schools that she has taught in. Okay. So this is where students have to come up with their own idea. Has many years of teaching experience. This one is really funny. Many years of teaching experience. The student have to give a number of years of teaching. So they gave, has been teaching for 60 years. This is not valid.
Yeah.
At what age does a teacher retire? Now it is 60 years, is it not? Doesn't mean the teacher has been teaching from when the teacher is 1 year old, is it not?
Yeah. Does not make sense,
So
right?
it does not make sense. So they must be very careful. If
Will it affect the mark,
teacher
Shanty?
become teacher,
Will it affect the mark if?
yeah, logic wise it doesn't, so the marks will not be given.
Oh, okay.
How can a teacher be teaching for 60 years? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you say 10 years, no, okay, teachers retiring. When do they come for teaching profession? Maybe when they're 25 and they retire in 55. So they have how many years? 30 years of teaching experience. If they retire in 60, then they have 35 years of teaching experience.
Okay.
So that's where you have to have some knowledge. You cannot simply hantam tulis apa-apa. Cannot. Okay, yeah. 2016 talk addressing classmates. This is where the making comparison, whether to visit a television factory or a tea plantation. Okay. And 2017 report to principal, again formal report. And 2018 report to teacher advisor. This is the teacher advisor because about students who often come late to school, the reasons given by students for coming late to school. So this is in 2018. And last year, 2019, sorry, not last year, 2019, the previous SPM was article for school magazine about Go Green Day.
Go Green Day, yeah.
Yeah, that was given. So 2020 now is the $1 million question. What is going to come out? Change from social issues concerning teenagers or other environmental and health matters. This is mainly from your textbook. So if there's all the topics that you have covered in your textbook, you should be able to answer. I always tell my students.
What about current issues, Shanty? Current issues like COVID-19, will it come up?
Yeah, health matters. These are also health issues. Yes.
Health tips, for example.
Whether it may come out, it also depends how much the students are exposed to it. And they have no excuse to say they do not know about COVID, because these are reminders. Wash your hands, wear a mask, social distancing. These are the 3 main things they have to follow, is it not? And keep yourself fit, eat healthy food, take lots of fruits, take warm or hot water. They should never say they do not know about this. Okay? So I always tell my students, imagine SPM questions are set in such a way to test the average. Say in Malaysia, 600,000 students are sitting for exam, SPM. So there's no way they're going to set questions which are too
technical.
or too easy. Never. It's going to be mediocre. Yes, very in moderate kind of difficulty, where every student should be able to answer. So no way they're going to victimize any part. Even a child which is in the rural area, in a Pelda settlement, where they might not have much exposure to town and city life, they also will be answering the same kind of question as you. So there's no excuse in saying that it was too difficult, I cannot answer. You know, I don't think so. Okay, now how to score A? Okay,
Oh, this is
why?
very important.
Yeah, how to score an A? First of all, observe the correct format. You can't afford to miss out the 3 marks. And then use all the content points given. C1, C2, C3. I told you the question paper is yours. You can scribble there, write all those 12 points. And make sure the points are all clearly written in complete sentences. Then, okay, once you've written complete sentences, give one short elaboration, another sentence for that. Okay, and then when you're writing your sentences, use varied sentences, simple, compound, and complex sentences. You must use that. Okay, and when you are presenting your ideas, you have to use paragraphs. When you use paragraphs, you must show there's a continuity from one paragraph, there's a coherence from one paragraph to another paragraph, ada kesinambungan. So you must use the correct kind of discourse markers. You must use furthermore, moreover, in addition, similarly, okay, penultimate, uh, in a in a nutshell, or in conclusion, in short, to sum it up. These are the kind of words that you must use. Okay, and in your essay, when you're linking ideas, you must use therefore, similarly, on the other hand, subsequently, next, finally, and so on. And also, you must use idioms, proverbs, similes, flowery words to make your essay interesting. The
Shanti,
examiner,
regarding the last point there, the use of idioms, proverbs, similes, and flowery verbs, is that for
yeah.
all types of text, or what about
Um,
formal letter, Shanti?
Formal letter, it has to be a
Formal
tone
letter
which is
and
formal.
report, right?
Report, yeah, it has to be idiom which is something that we can be fitting in such a way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Students must wake up early in the morning in order to avoid being late to school. Okay, do use your alarm clock and keep as you practice getting up early, you will you will definitely realize your biological clock will make you wake up early in the morning. As the saying goes, practice makes
Makes
perfect.
perfect. Oh, okay.
That kind of thing. So
Uh,
they can use such words like that then. Okay, accordingly, what is necessary only. You really can't find something, don't simply put anything. Okay, only when you
yeah,
can
just to make it
clearly,
flowery, right? Some people.
yeah, yeah, just to make it show that you have your language is rich. You know, you can actually use those in the right place and correctly. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. All right. Next, let's move on. Okay, this one was yeah, as I told you earlier. Okay, now how to write or present your ideas. You know, give a talk to your classmates, persuading them to choose between DM Television Factory or SLT Plantation. Now, here greetings, the purpose and the closure. Greetings is a very good morning to Inche Said, our class teacher, and dear friends. That's greetings. Then the purpose. I, as the monitor of the class, am standing here to talk to you about choosing between two places that we can visit for our class excursion. So Inche Syed has chosen either DM Television Factory or SLT Plantation. So we need to discuss and come to a consensus which of these two places we can visit. Okay, then you go on. First of all, for DM Television Factory, okay, the distance is this far. But for SLT Plantation, the distance is how many kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
So how you can put in your ideas. You want to talk all about DM Television Factory, all points, or all points about SLT Plantation, or you want to weave them in between. DM
Okay.
Television Factory, SLT plantation, you put in the ideas. So the strategy of writing is totally up to you. Okay, but you're told to compare each element.
Yeah.
So it's better you weave, but you keep track which are the points you already mentioned and which you have not. So
So
that will,
you alternate between DM and
yeah, correct. So you can see the comparison very obvious. Distance, this is for television factory, this one. SLT, this one. Okay, mode of transportation, television factory, is walking distance. Okay, how about this one? This one is we have to take a bus. It's about 3 hours drive. So it's comparing side by side. Okay, yeah. All right. Next, this one was a question about. Okay, yeah. I have to move the slide a bit. Sorry about that.
it's about visit.
Visiting international school students visiting. Okay, now this is where the KBAT you have to really understand, yeah, because you see they say the international students, they only gave that clue is international students, number, nationality, age group. So what they mean by number? How many students? That is C1. So what would you put if international students are visiting our country during the school holidays and you became the uh, your
Host.
school hosted, hosted, became the host of it. So you need to give the details. This is a report. So what are the details that you're going to put in it? Okay, so the number, so it's 100 students. You cannot give 1,000 students. How can you handle 1,000 students at a time?
Yeah.
Be rational. That's why, although it's hot, we have to be very level-headed and think carefully. Be very moderate. Okay, say 50 students, fine. Even 20 students is fine. Okay, nationality. So we say talk about international students. We cannot say we had students from we had Chinese students, Indian students, and Malay students. We're talking about different nationality here. We're not talking Malaysians. We all Chinese, Indian, and Malays. We are Malaysians. We're talking about nationality. So you can say students from Indonesia, students from the Philippines, students from Singapore. That's what we're looking at. Okay, you must be able to think. And then the age group. Okay, age group. When would international students visit us? They must be in their teens. Okay, probably 15, 16, 17. You can't say 25. These are students who have finished university studies. Doesn't fit in, yeah? So you have to label your points correctly, give the correct details, and write complete sentences. This is quite challenging actually, you know. And then reason for the visit. Why are they what do they want to visit? For good for international relations between our country and their country. And what other reason? Why would they want to visit Malaysia? To get to know more about the Malaysian culture, perhaps. That's one obvious reason. We have different
Yeah.
culture. So C5, that would be C5. Accommodation. Accommodation, where would they stay? You can, although your school has no hostel, you can create, yeah, they stayed in our school hostel. Okay, or if you don't have hostel, some say they stayed at a nearby hotel and traveled by bus to our school for their activities. We can say that, up to you. Next, oh sorry. Okay, I need to go over to see what did I write there. Opinions, oh sorry, activities. What did they do? They had cooking lessons. So when you talk about cooking lessons, what are the kind of dishes that you want to teach them to cook? Some say roti canai, but when you use roti canai, you have to use open and close inverted commas. Just like certain words which doesn't exist in English, okay? Gotong royong. Gotong royong, so you put open and close inverted commas. Allowed
Oh.
to use. Yes.
Oh.
And nasi lemak. How to make nasi lemak? Okay, open and we don't say fat rice. Okay.
No need
So
to translate.
yeah, no need to translate. Don't say it comes out wrong, you know.
Fatty
So
rice. Right?
you just put you just put open and close inverted commas, nasi lemak. Okay. And fried noodles perhaps. Traditional games. What are the Malaysian traditional games? Wow. Okay, wow. And then top
Top spinning.
top spinning. You can say top spinning. Some say What other traditional games we have?
Sepak raga, sepak takraw, sepak
Yeah, that kind of things. Okay, and give one more activity that you all did. So this one, some students came up with taking them on an excursion to the nearby some tourist attraction. They came to Malaysia, so you take them to one or two places which are nearby for them to see. You can say perhaps it was the what is it? The bird park, the open bird park, yeah, in KL or any other places. Okay, yeah, and planetarium. You can say took them to KLCC to the petrol science, any places like that. Okay. Now the opinions from the international students. Oh, they said that Malaysia has beautiful beaches and they liked our beaches because they're very clean. And one more opinion. Okay, another opinion. What would foreigners like about our country? I'll say most of the tourists that come to our country, they like our food because we have a wide range of food from all the three different ethnic groups that are in Malaysia. Okay, ranging from nasi kerabu, nasi lemak, then you have char kway
Thosai.
teow, you have thosai, you have chapati and whatnot, or biryani and so on. Okay, and future international students visits, you must suggest whether yes, it is a very important event, very experiential for everybody, for them, and also for us to be the host. It should be organized in the years to come. So you give your opinion. So this is where you get your 12 marks. But students have to be able to think fast. Remember, you only have 45 minutes.
Yeah.
You should be able to think fast. All these points come up with very clear idea and construct sentences and present your essay. Okay, now directed writing, the band marks you see. Okay, A for language is 19 to 20, B 16 to 18, C 13 to 50, D 10 to 12, E 7 to 8. Now I'll say very obviously my school, my students are E and below, 7 to 8,
Yeah.
4 to 6, 2 to 3, but 0 to 1, none, unless they didn't answer the question at all.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, continuous writing. Okay, now let's see. Continuous writing, as I told you, 50 marks. I always tell my students, teacher, saya jawab section A saja boleh tak? Section B tu tak tahulah teacher. I say boleh lah. Kalau you nak pilih untuk gagal. I say
Okay.
why? 50 markah you sia-sia you tak nak tulis. So I ask them, you studied from standard 1 or even kindergarten until form 5, 11 years. Don't tell me this part of the question you're going to send an empty page to your examiner. Is it fair what you're doing? Is it fair to your parents or not? Mereka membelanjakan banyak duit, memberi you pendidikan. So I say, jangan buat begitu. Jawab, just answer something. Mereka akan tengok apa ni budak ni tak jawab. Tak payah menanda. Gembira lah, tak payah menanda. Tapi kan, who is the one who's gonna lose here? Siapa yang rugi? You yourself, I tell my students. You must write.
Shanti, what about the points that they do not understand? So must they like take a wild guess or that just write?
Yes, just write something for
Just write
directed
something.
writing. Yeah, for
If they are
directed
lucky, they will get the mark.
Yes, tulis saja. If you ask me, these questions, if they do not know any word or so, they can think in Malay. They can think in Malay. Think of other words that they can use to write it out. These are, as I told you, the topics they choose are very much, they are familiar with. 17-year-old students must be familiar with it. They should. Okay. Now, so continuous writing, again. A 44 to 50, B 38 to 43, C 32 to 37, D 26 to 31, E 20 to 25, U1 14 to 19, U2 8 to 13, and U3 0 to 7. And my students again, they fall D and below. So I'm trying to push them, giving them a lots of essays that we can write in class together on the board, and sometimes I make them write on mahjong paper Okay, now you present. So after they have presented their point, I'll correct for them there. Why the mistakes? How to correct the mistakes? Why the mistake? That is an error there. Okay, I tell them. So they are able to realize in a big group. They all will realize, oh, that is a wrong way of writing. What's the correct way of writing it? But only thing, because of COVID, a lot of things, we are very much, our hands are tied. We cannot do, you know.
Yes.
All right. Okay, but we've given our best. Hopefully they do their best too. Okay,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, I'm sure Judge Syed also has given all that he can give to you. It's all up to you students to make use of it. Remember, apply it during exam. Okay, now let's see continuous writing. Now, continuous writing, as I told you, the most important part where you have 50 marks coming from there. So you must take, out of the 60 minutes, you take 5 minutes to read all the options given. Here, section A, you have to answer that only one option, one question only. Section B, 5 questions, you must choose one. Which one can I choose? Ask yourself. You're the kind who write stories, you're the kind who can write descriptive kind of thing, or you prefer narrative. Some prefer factual. Factual is normally argumentative. Okay, you must know factual things. So there are different ways of expressing your flair for writing, what you can write very well. You must know your strength. If you're one who can write story, okay, you stick to story. Read a lot of sample essays, how stories are written. Then from there, you can read all the 5 questions, choose one that you are most confident, you make outline, plan the essay. Introduction, what I'm going to write. Body, paragraph 2, what I'm going to write. Paragraph 3, what I'm going to write. Paragraph 4, what I'm going to write. And then last one will be your conclusion. Okay, now why is it important to make an outline? So you need to plan your points and paragraphs because you don't want to make mistakes. Okay, I have seen my class students write essays. They write essay and then they come to second paragraph. Suddenly they say, oh, this point must go up in the first essay. So the sentence, they put a parenthesis, a bracket, and then they make lay out their answer correctly. I have seen cases where my students, they choose one question, they write first, 1 or 2 paragraphs. Okay, students would have written 1 or 2 paragraphs, and then suddenly they realize they lost of idea. They don't know what points to write. Then they look at the question paper again. Just now answered number 1. Now they go and answer number 3. So cancel the half page they have written. Go to the next clean page and write question number 3. Now, you have only 60 minutes. You spent about 15 minutes there already. Now you're left with only 45 minutes, but you must write 350 words. You get panicky. You see students to your right, left, right, in front, all writing, busy writing pages and pages. You will panic. When you panic in such a situation, you tend to be making mistakes. That's why always when you get a question paper, the question paper is yours. You are free to scribble anything you want. Each question by question, underline the keywords in the question. Do I know this question well? Okay, now mine. I underline the keywords already. Second question, read, underline the keywords. Okay, 3, 4, 5, all done. By now, you finish the 5th question you have read, you know already which question you like the most. So between 1 and 3, you read again 1 and 3. Okay, I like question 3. Circle question 3. Now sit down and make your outline. Plan out what you want to write. Once you've done that, your points are divided correctly. You will not make mistakes like cancel here, arrow there. You won't make mistakes. Okay, so you won't be drained out of idea. I don't know what to write because you already made your plan. Okay, so to avoid panicky, to avoid all these problems, you have already made your uh, plan, or sometimes it helps to do mind mapping like this. Okay. Okay, yeah, underlining the keywords is very important. Okay, the keywords, and then it must be about, okay, 350 words and so on. uh, okay. Okay, common problems. What are the common problems that students face? Don't know how to write. What should I write? Okay, I don't have enough facts. You, my grammar mistakes. Then sometimes don't know what to write. You write a Malay word in between there.
Oh,
Here, don't know
wow.
how to write this word. Uh, okay, um, membuat keputusan. How to write in English? Decided. I don't know. Decide. Don't know the word decided. He membuat keputusan to run
Oh,
away from home. Cannot. You cannot write Malay words in between English and make a sentence. The sentence won't come out right. Automatically, your language mark will be going very low. Don't do that. And then spelling problems using British or American. If you're using British, stick to British all through your essay. If you're using American, stick to American. Okay, teacher, how do I know which is British, which is American? Okay, color, COLOUR, that is British. COLOR, American. Same
ah,
thing, favorite, FAVOURITE, favorite, British. American, FAVORITE, American. Okay, so like others also, organization, ORGANISATION, British. American, ORGANIZATION, so that is American. So you must avoid using the uh, mix up both kind of spelling. Okay, spelling problems also will affect your language marks.
okay.
And another problem students face is no confidence. I don't know how to write, no confidence. Okay, and then end up giving short response, or sometimes give up, don't want to write at all.
Oh,
Now don't throw away your 50 marks.
mhm.
Give your best. Okay, now for example, this one question, this is for those who like to write about story, like write about a cultural celebration that you recently attended. Describe where you were. Okay, which place, what you saw, what are the things you saw, how you felt during the function. So these are, setting is cultural celebration, and then where, what you saw, how you felt. All these must be clearly embedded in your answer, must be clearly mentioned in your letter, sorry, in your answer, so that you can be awarded marks accordingly. Say you miss out one part of it, you didn't write how you felt during the function, your marks will automatically go lower because you didn't fulfill all the three aspects in the question.
Mhm.
Okay, so what to write? Which cultural event? What kind of cultural event would that be? What would it be? If an Indian student will write about Thaipusam celebration.
Mm.
If it's a Malay student, perhaps will write about
Hari Raya.
Hari Raya. Okay, if it's a Chinese student, perhaps will write about the
Chinese.
Moon Cake Festival, for example. Okay, so depends. Now, if you are a Malay student, can you write about a traditional Indian wedding that I attended? Can.
Yes.
You can write also. It's a culture, yes or not? According to the Indian culture, how was the wedding celebration? How it took place? You can also write. Okay, uh, or like an Indian student attended a Hari Raya function in her neighbors, neighbor, or with the, celebrated with the neighbors, or back in their hometown. You followed them back. Also, you can write about the celebration, what time they wake up, the eve, what are the preparations they made, what are the kind of traditional food they served, what more they wore in the morning, traditional attire. You also followed them, wore their traditional attire. You had one stitched for yourself, and so on. You can also tell. Okay, no problem. And then which place, whose place was it, where, with whom. Okay, and then you ask yourself, how do I plan? Now, this is about cultural celebration that Where you were, what you saw past tense. How you felt, past tense. Felt is past tense. That means I must use past tense in my entire essay. You must remember that. Okay, yeah? All right. Same thing, a wedding ceremony. Okay, this is maybe a wedding ceremony that you attended. What, when, where. So do this mind mapping. Okay,
Okay.
mind mapping, so that you ask yourself, people, how were the people there? All were dressed up. Everyone was looking really uh, dressed to their best, and the bride looked so beautiful, the groom was so tall, okay, and the bride was a bit short, but here, and the groom was so handsome or whatever. And the place, how was it so beautiful? Was it a garden wedding, or was it in a hall? How was the place decorated? Was it crowded? And then the environment, how was the music playing? Is it noisy? Was there children running up and down? Okay, or was there people laughing? Feelings, how was the feelings? Everyone was happy, nervous. Who looked nervous? Of course, the bride and groom they looked nervous, blissful. And who looked sad? Or maybe the bride's mom looks sad because she's not happy that her daughter is getting married and going away, for example. Okay, that's how you write.
Mhm.
Okay, now, as I said earlier, you must write sentences which are varied.
Very.
What are varied sentence structures? Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah. For example, look at this simple sentence. Students are not allowed to bring handphones to school. What's the subject here? Students. And what is the verb here? Not allowed. You're not allowed to bring something. And bring what? Object. Bring handphone to school. Or there's a predicate. So this is a simple sentence, very clear cut. Okay. Now, compound sentence will be a sentence with a link word, okay, connector in it. Okay, there's a sentence with a connector, or use a conjunction. Students are constantly reminded not to bring handphones to school because it is against the school rules. So this becomes a compound sentence. And what is a complex sentence? Complex sentence would be the errant students who brought handphones to school were reprimanded and suspended from school for a week. Okay, this is where you use the word who, W-H-O. So when you use the WH tag words in your sentence, then it is a complex sentence.
Mhm.
Okay, is that clear? Just a
Yes.
simple example given to you. So when you are writing, write combinations of simple, compound, and complex sentences. Avoid structures which are repetitive. Okay, same style of starting a sentence or starting a paragraph will make it sound very flat, very mundane, and your language marks won't be very high. Okay, okay, let's see. All right, these are the common error the students make. The mistakes in their subject-verb agreement. Okay, the problems faced by the students in the school are okay, this, and this. Okay, these problems. Can you say this problems, or you must say these problems? Okay, so here students are not able to use this, these, that, those. Problems are, problems is. Okay, you're not able to use it correctly. So this is where the language marks, obviously the examiner, as a teacher, as I'm marking my students' work, I realize the grammar is very bad. They do not know how to use it. Okay, and sometimes spelling of simple to bombastic words. Now, table is a simple word, Table. But if the student were to spell it as Tabel, that is a serious error because do not know how to spell a simple word. But if the student doesn't know how to spell encyclopedia, so that will be, say, there's some mistake in the word spelling, Encyclopedia. There's a spelling somewhere there wrong. So we put a squiggly line. It's considered a minor error. Why? Do not know how to spell a bombastic word or a word which is rather difficult to spell. Okay. Then sentence structures. Your vocabulary is too simple. I went on a holiday to Port Dickson. It was a beautiful morning. The beach was very beautiful. We checked into a hotel. Hotel room was very beautiful. Overuse of the word beautiful. You have to use other words to describe. The weather was uh, the weather was sunny. Okay, weather was sunny and cool, crisp morning. Okay, and then you say the beach was uh, crystal clear and the water was shining, glimmering in under the sunlight. Okay, the hotel room was superb with the facilities were wonderful. You can have different ways of describing. Sometimes overuse of the same kind of vocabulary that you have. Too simple. Okay, yeah. And then sometimes paragraphs not linked well. They do not use the discourse markers, or you did not divide your points properly. Okay, punctuation. Punctuation using of capital letters, small letters. Proper nouns, you must use capital letters. Sometimes they do not know. Okay, uppercase. You cannot use lowercase. All right, and then comma, question mark, quotation marks. All these are punctuation mistakes. And then relevance of subject matter. When you're writing an essay, especially for section B, you must see how relevant is your subject matter to the topic given. Does it fit or not? Sometimes it doesn't fit properly, especially worse when students bring in some memorized scripts. They memorize something, they don't care. Whatever comes out, I'm going to write only this. That's suicidal to be doing that. Okay, salah to do that. The question doesn't ask that, but you're simply just writing that answer there. And worse, sometimes students, they just want to write that, they don't write the number of the question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They didn't write which question is it. So examiner, as a teacher, I find that now which question is this? Now 1 to 5, nothing is relevant to this. What will happen? You get 0 marks. Don't do that. Don't memorize and come bring an essay and you just purge it there. Or just vomit it out, write it out like that. It won't give you much marks though. Okay? Alright, yeah? Okay, let's see. Now, what it takes to get an A. Language must be accurate. How accurate? In a paragraph, one mistake, minor mistake, never mind. Sentence structure definitely must be varied. Vocabulary, your knowledge of words, okay, must be wide, precise. No need to be very bombastic.
Yes.
Just good vocabulary is enough already. Whatever you learn in school, simple but precise vocabulary. Yeah? Punctuation, always correct. Spelling, accurate over a wide range of words. Only for some bombastic words may be wrong, it's okay. Paragraphs, well planned. Must be well planned paragraphs. Topic must be relevant. And interest of reader should be aroused. That means the reader who reads it must read one paragraph, eager to read the next paragraph until the end to see how the story ends. Wow, that will be definitely an essay which authentic. What is authentic? Asli, your own essay.
Yes.
It's not like something it's very predictable, very normal. Okay,
Cliche.
cannot. Cliche, very cliche. So it must be something authentic, that your own experience. Your own experience is very authentic. You write essays like that based on your own experience. That will fetch a lot of marks because no one person's life is the same as another's. Yeah, that
Yes.
kind of essays will get high marks. Okay, yeah. All right, next. Descriptive essays basically like camping trip, what makes you happy, family celebration, truly Malaysian, a famous person admired, most popular student, most embarrassing experience in your life, an enjoyable weekend, my hero. These are the things that you need to write. Normally descriptive essays. Argumentative, tuition. Is it necessary? Teenagers lack freedom. Teenagers don't have freedom. So you must argue on the topic. Is it true or not? Part-time jobs, are they a must for students? Good results don't guarantee success. Is it true? Computer, is it an advantage? Games are important. Are games really important? Examination, good or bad? Legal age for driving. What is the right age for driving? Argue on that. Okay, so these are argumentative essays. Some of the essays, the kind of topics that can come out. Okay, now let me just show you how you can improve good style of writing essays. Now, Sheila walked away. Simple sentence. Sheila walked away slowly. Now, this is adding an adverb, so it gives it more sort of idea in your head. Sheila walked away slowly without turning back. Now, without is used there. This becomes a compound sentence. Sheila walked away slowly, her head bowed. She did not turn back to look at him. This gives us, it's more dramatic. She smiled sadly and sighed. Then she turned around and walked away slowly, her grey head bowed. She did not turn back to look at him. She walked straight on without hesitating or stopping, even when she stumbled on some stones that were in her path. This shows obviously someone who is very, sad and feeling devastated or disappointed and walking away from something. So,
So when
this,
you read it, you can feel you can
yeah,
imagine the
the
feeling of
emotion is there.
the
The
emotion.
emotion is there. So this is how you are asked to give, um, put it in writing in such a way is vividly create some
Yeah.
imagination in the reader's mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this explains how the candidate can write to build momentum, moving from simple to more compound and complex sentences, to give the reader more vivid imagination about the incidents with emotion. Okay. Now this one is a question about which came out in 2018, I think. 18, yes.
Yes.
Describe a problem you once had while you were traveling. Explain what you did to solve the problem and what you have learned from it. Now, all the underlined parts, problem, while traveling, what you did to solve, and what you learned from it. There are 4 aspects you must write in your answer. Now, when students fail to write one part, you don't write what you learned from it. You did not answer the question completely. So it is considered partial treatment. You only partially answered the question. So your answer, your marks, based on the answer you've given, your marks will never go any higher than 25. Depends on your grammar. If your grammar is bad, you go lower. Lower than E. Okay? But if it's a good answer, but you didn't answer all aspects, then the highest you can get is only 25. Or you forgot to mention while you were traveling. Didn't mention about traveling where. You just said about the problem and how you solved the problem and what you learned from the problem. So you didn't say traveling where. What problem that you encounter when you are traveling. So one part you miss out, you will lose your marks, yeah? Because it's partial treatment. Okay, now let's see another example like just now as I showed you. This one is essays that move higher in the bank. That means essays that can give you higher marks. Okay, Tina started to cry. Okay, Tina started to cry. Tina sat down. Then tears began to flow down her cheeks. Tina sat down on the wooden bench. She looked down. The tears began to flow down her cheeks. Sighing in disbelief, she wiped them away. She decided to pull herself together. Okay? Tina could not argue anymore. Quietly, she sat down on the wooden bench at the park. In deep thought, She looked down at her hands. Tears began to form in her eyes and then roll down her cheeks. She wiped them away hastily with the back of her hand. How is she to tell her parents that she lost her passport? No point in arguing. Who lost the document? Huh? What is the next course of action in a foreign land? So this is in the essay. She has lost the passport. So this is how it can be written to create the momentum, to give it how you're away in a foreign land and you lost your document, most important document. What you're going to do, how you're going to solve your problem. Okay, that shows the predicament very well. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all for paper one. I think I've mentioned mostly everything.
Mm.
Okay, all right. Let me just see.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, now this one is just some motivation for y'all. Okay, yeah. All
Rome
right.
is not built
Good luck.
in a day.
Rome was not built in a day. Now, how many? I just told my students today, you have another 9 days more.
We
Yeah.
are talking about like last minute preparation. What must they do?
I'll tell them just read a lot of essays
Read a
and
lot of essays.
go
Okay.
through, especially the exam papers that we have done with them, the
Oh,
trial
okay, right.
papers we have done
Okay.
with them, the other specimen papers that we've given them, go through that. Whatever mistakes they made, we say this is not right. Okay. Now,
Okay.
just to give them a clear idea,
All right,
this
right.
is exam slip when they will get say BM, they got an A, Bahasa Inggris A plus, and
Okay.
then there's a two beside that. What is that? What is that two there?
What to what?
The two is the marks that you got for your O level, Cambridge. Cambridge gave you
Oh,
given
okay.
you marks. If you
All
get
right.
one, is the best.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got A plus for the recent paper you set, but two means you're not exactly as good. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? Uh,
Yes.
Sometimes you can get A minus, but then you get the number beside there is 4,
Mm-hmm.
which is not that good also. But as long as below 6 and below is fine. Six, five,
Okay.
four, three, two, one is fine. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Just to let you all know, because my students ask, I say yes. Your English paper you get 2 grades. One is for according to a local examination
Mm-hmm.
syndicate, Lembaga Peperiksaan
Lembaga
Malaysia,
peperiksaan.
and
Okay.
the other one is according to
Cambridge.
Cambridge.
Yeah.
Yes, and that is the one which helps you when you want to go for your studies abroad,
Abroad.
overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, so they must be aware of that. All right. So I think that's all I need to
Mm-hmm.
say. And okay, some more I have. What are the odds? Yeah, things are not working in our favor. Why? Because of COVID. But we need to take control of the situation in the
Yeah.
best possible way. As the maxim goes, we can't direct the winds, but we can set the sail for a smooth cruise.
All right.
True or
Wow.
not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. They need to know that. And lastly,
Especially
okay,
this batch, like
yeah, I tell
yeah.
them, aren't you tired of sitting in the school bench for
Mm.
more than a year? Okay, it's not a shame, but it's just regretful that you are sitting here
Mm.
into the third month of another year. Yes or not? Okay,
Yeah.
so I just tell them, give
Mm.
your best shot. And in a
Yes.
way, I'll take it in a better spirit. I'll say, I
Mm.
had more time to prepare for my SPM compared to my previous batches, my seniors in
Yes.
school.
Yes. Yes.
You had more time. So
Mm.
give your best shot. You're in no way little or inferior to any one of them. In fact, you had all the only thing, no face to face, lack of face to face.
Mm.
But then we made the most of it. We had our Google Meets, we had our other ways of giving
Yes.
you practice.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so best of luck to
Mm.
all SPM students. Give your best
Mm.
and ace in it. Okay, that's all side. Back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Puan Shanty.
You're
Okay, I
welcome.
think you have covered everything about paper one. Yeah,
Yes,
both direct DW and CW, directed writing and continuous writing.
yes.
Shanti, there's a saying in English: "It takes a
Hmm.
thief to catch a thief." Have you heard that?
Yes,
So yeah, just like look like getting
we know
marks in
where the loopholes, and
exam.
where we can catch them.
Yeah. So in
Yes,
order to get marks, you have to think like a marker, right? Then you know
yeah,
how to get mark.
yes.
Okay, so
What teachers want in your answer?
yeah,
What
yes,
they
yes,
want in your
yes.
answer.
No, it's
Yes,
not that what you want, right? It's not what the teacher wants. What is expected from you?
yes, correct.
Yes, because exam test how well you follow orders, right, Sandy?
Yes,
How
true,
well you
true.
follow instruction.
Yeah, instructions
Okay.
very important. I always tell my
Yes.
students, I I'm teaching them.
Mm,
Even yesterday, I was reading the
mm,
question, going through with them. I
mm,
said, I'm so sad to see,
mm,
despite me telling you when you're reading a question or reading a text, even your comprehension text, do active reading.
mm.
Underline the words as you're
Yeah.
reading. The
Mm-hmm.
important where you feel is important, underline that. Make it a habit.
Yes.
It's not only for English, it's
Mm-hmm.
also for BM, it's also
Mm-hmm.
for Sejarah or what
Yes.
others.
Yes. Yes.
Because you don't want to miss out the keywords in the questions
Yeah.
and present a wrong answer.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to. I forgot to mention just now. I don't know
Yeah.
why I
Yeah.
left
Please,
out.
please.
Remember the one year the question came out. If you are given a chance to study in another part of Malaysia,
Yeah.
where would it be?
Another part in Malaysia, right?
Another part of Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
So, where some students have written about Australia,
Yeah.
Ireland,
Yes. Yes.
Africa, another part of Malaysia is very clear. So, another part of Malaysia, please
Yes.
underline
Yes.
that. If you had underlined, would you have made the mistake of writing
Yeah.
Australia or
Maybe
America?
they wrote hastily, right? Without
Yeah,
thinking.
they
Yeah.
read it wrongly. They
Yeah.
had an idea and
Mm.
they just went about writing, go home, and then when they came out of the exam hall, they would have
Mm.
discussed, and then the child would have known, oh my God, I wrote overseas. I should have written another part. Maybe I'm in Selangor. I should have written
Sabah.
or
Ah.
Sabah or something
Ah.
like that. And look at me, I've written wrongly. Go back home, and the
Mm.
parents became frantic. Oh, the examination syndicate, they did not word the question properly. It's
Mm.
very misleading. There was nothing misleading about the question.
Yes. Yes.
Child did not read it correctly.
Yes.
I
So
want that
let
to happen
hmm.
first during SPM. Exam constraint, limited
Yes.
time. We want that to happen. Yeah.
So we should learn something, a very important lesson from that. Let's not let the banana best fruit twice.
Yes.
Okay, so
Mm.
once again, thank you very much, Puan Shanty, and good luck for your SMK Jalan Kebun students, also SPM candidates SMK Jalan
Thank
Kebun.
you.
If you can
Mm.
watch this, okay. So
Mm. You
like
share
I
it
said,
with me. You share it with
uh,
me so I can show it to them too.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Thank you very much. A very fruitful one, Puan Shanty. A very fruitful discussion.
Hopefully.
So
Thank
you
you.
have
I
touched
hope
a
they
lot.
benefit from it.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. Hopefully, our students can do well in exam. They will pass with flying colors. All right.
Yes, sure,
Uh,
sure.
Thanks a million, Puan Shanty from SMK Jalan Kebun. And I hope SPM candidates out there, be it from SMK Section 9 Shah Alam or from SMK Jalan Kebun or from whichever school you are from, can benefit from this episode. All the best for the coming SPM for all of you. See you in my next video. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.